Hello, everybody. We are here joined again once more by Mr. Lars Lentz, tracking coach extraordinaire. And he is here out with his book, the track book. And this is more than a book, I would say. This is more like a multimedia experience rolled in with a seminar and constant support over social media. So I think this is a culmination of a newsletter meets a book, meets an online seminar, meets assistance, all prepackaged into one course, which is, I think, quite a heck of a deal. I don't remember exactly what you're charging for it, but I'm sure you're charging too little because it's I think especially for somebody who is new to the game, who is looking as at this as a first experience as a beginner. I think this would be an excellent tool for them, especially since the breadth of the material out there, as we've discussed on multiple podcasts before, is not very exhaustive. And this for this, I would like you to take the floor, sir.
Thank you very much for inviting me again.
It's my pleasure.
I
Welcome
all the
home.
time enjoy it. uh, and thank you for letting me speak a little bit about the book,
Of course.
because I think it's important that people understand how that have become a book.
Yes.
The story is like this, and you actually yourself know a little bit about it. Uh, it is like for several years, people have asked me, please, Lars, make a book,
Yes.
make a book. And hey, I went 7 years to public school. I'm very, very stupid. And I said, no, I can't. No, I can't. No, I can't. And then for 2 years ago, there was a young lady. She said to me, but Lars, have you heard about AI? And I
Yes.
was like, duh. I heard her too. And I'm against everything modern. Oh, it doesn't
Sure.
work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I'm an
Take those
oldie.
glasses off.
Exactly. Exactly. You're right. And but then I make a small note about it on social media. Would there be an interest for a track book? And that was
Yes.
quite overwhelming. And next step was I then asked, is there anybody who wants to help me with that? And there were several people who was reaching out to me, and I spoke with them. And then I find a young guy, Eric. And the process working with him, oh my God, it has been so funny, because people have to understand Eric is the nicest person I met ever. He is so hardworking. He's very, very intelligent. He is so much into pleasing me. But I'm sure, and I've said that to him several times, he have not been checked out by the doctors, but he have tons of HDAD. No
I'm
doubt.
sure.
So, and his idea is like that all the time. And I
Sure.
try to keep him here. And I'm not the right person to keep another person here
Right.
because I'm a little bit the same myself.
Sure.
So in the beginning, it was only we record one of my seminar and make it like a book.
Sure.
But then he start with the platform named Skool, where people
Yes.
buy access with videos and cameras and apps, and it's growing and growing and growing. So I thought, oh, we make 3 months. It took 6 months. It took
No, it's
10 months.
beautiful.
It took
It's
12 months.
beautiful. Yes.
It took one. But I have to admit, you can't imagine how bad I have been in my language to him, yelling and screaming at him because I was convinced about it's bullshit. All that
Sure.
AI, and you don't know about it. And then I'm standing and am responsible for that.
Right.
But I have to admit, and I said that to him, hey, come on, you have done a great job. It's
Oh, just
amazing.
listening to the feedback, when you look at the feedback online of different people posting, just willingly, organically sharing their feedback about the book is, I mean, it's a testament in itself in what a great job you guys have done.
And for me, it was like I have never imagined anything like that. It's just growing and growing and growing. And it's super funny because we make a deal before we start producing the book. It's
Yes.
very important that we make it in an easy, understandable language.
Yes.
It
Yes.
should also be quite funny, light,
Yes.
because people is not reading a complete book, they fall asleep.
Right.
And we should have fun making it.
Yes.
And we had. We
Yeah.
have.
No, that's great. So
I mean,
I would not call you an author though. This is more than just being an author. This is, you are actually an evangelist, I would say, a tracking evangelist. is how I would say.
Don't get carried away. Don't get carried away.
No, I mean, it's not, don't put too much credence into the word. It's just what you're doing. You're evangelizing tracking, not just writing about it. So I think it's great.
And I can see already now we have that platform Skool where people, when they buy the book, they get access to that. Already now, I have maybe make 30 small video in 2 weeks.
Oh, that's amazing.
About track or my concern about this and that. And then Eric, he sugarcoated a little bit with my voice or advertising, and I make all about the track. So people already now feel that I take them seriously and I come back to them immediately, especially new people in the sport.
Absolutely.
And for me, that's the most important. I'm not so interested, to take a person lifted from IGP 3 level to the world championship.
Yeah, sure.
I'm much more interested to bring in new people into the sport.
I couldn't agree more.
People have been in the sport for tons of years and couldn't figure out to pass IGP 1.
Yes, absolutely.
That's my major client.
And I would for the majority of people who are already deep entrenched into the sport, they know who you are. For people who this might reach for the first time, could you give us a little bit of background why they need to listen to you and read your book?
I think it's because compared to obedience and protection work, we don't have anything material about track.
Yes.
And for me, it's like you can find tons of videos and books about protection work and obedience. But on track, it's like we don't have anything. The only thing I have found about IGP track is from a guy named Manfred Müller back from 1980 or 75, I think it was. And that's and come on, the sport have developed. And my concern is when I see people train IGP, they have developed so much in obedience and protection work, but not on track. It's like the majority is doing the same as they did for 50 years ago. And they get the same stupid outcome.
Right.
And actually, they are failing more and more and more nowadays.
Yes.
So I think it's time that we rethink it and make it in a more light and easy way.
I think this is also maybe a consequence of these people taking themselves too seriously, hence micromanaging their dogs too much.
What I see, and that could be a point, what you're saying there is when I investigate the best I can with the material who is available, when people fail nowadays, the majority of the people who fail on track, the dog give up.
Yes.
Stop tracking.
Yep.
And just look like an idiot. I mean, in the old days, our dog maybe didn't find the corner, but they fight like hell.
It's hunting. It's hunting. It's hunting.
It was trying.
Yes.
But now it's like with all the obedience and the technique and the discipline we have put on the dog, we have taken the hooligan out of the dog, the drive, the passion. And for me, that's like toothpaste. It's so difficult to bring that back when we have squeezed it out, right?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I have a good example. I was having a client today in the book Skool. She said, Lars, you want my dog to fight for the food down in the food bowl. Yeah. My dog can never get food from the food bowl because I use the food for obedience and protection work and all that. So my dog trying to offer me a lot of behavior to be allowed to take the food. The dog could not fight by itself to take the food.
Oh my gosh.
The dog could sit, stay, down, bark, whatever, when the food bowl right in front of it. And I said, but we need to take the nature back and bring that into the picture so the dog dare to fight for the food. Does that make sense?
Yep, 100%. I have a personalized example of this as well, because I created something like this with one of my dogs because I was paying the dog with the ball and making it for the articles, right? So I have a box, I have the article, I showed the article, I make it down, I'm just increasing anticipation and making sure the dog doesn't touch it. So I have the box on top. As soon as he shows it really enthusiastically, the tail's going, I mark it and I throw the ball. But I had not done my character assessment test yet. And one of the pieces is he must knock the basket over to get the ball.
Yeah.
And he was conditioned only to point at the ball. So I removed the basket when the judge says the dog doesn't have enough ball drive. I said, you don't understand.
Exactly. I can see it with my own young dog. She's 13 months old. When I put her in the kennel when I'm traveling, where they just give her food and a food
Yes.
ball, she's eating, but it's
Yeah.
not so enthusiastic
Yes.
as when I play with the food, because the dog is born and raised in that environment that I have
Yes.
to fight for the food.
She's
to
conditioned.
Do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, conditioned like hell.
Yeah.
So there is an issue there, and then I also think, which until now, knock on wood, that I have been blessed to do, is to speak to people in a normal language.
Yes.
Sorry to say. A lot of people is using so much fancy words nowadays.
Oh gosh, yes. Yes.
Do you know? Does your dog know all those fancy words? and I mean, and I'm not mentioning any names, but when I see those kind of war who is going on social media with trainers battling
Plus R
against
minus R.
I don't know even what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's also, I love it when they're quoting passages generated by AI of Skinner and Pavlov and conditioning and this and that. And it's like, did you actually read this in school, or are you just regurgitating what you just typed in?
Exactly. It's much easier and faster today, and that's a little bit scary and dangerous.
There's a lot of experts and authors that have been born in the last year and a half, it feels like, on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my question going back is, why IGP tracking? Why should somebody invest the time in IGP tracking? And why should they take this up as a sport as opposed to nose work for the new people, let's say, for who's doing nose work, or they're doing, trailing and that kind of stuff?
Actually, it's a good question. Thank you. Because I'm very narrow, very locked in my mindset.
Tunnel vision.
So I only is interested in IGP track.
Yeah.
But now and then some canine officer is contacting me.
Yes.
And say, please, could you help us with our track? And I'm like, no way, sorry, I don't know about it. I don't know anything about the police track.
Sure.
And all that. And scent work or whatever they call it. I don't know about
Right.
it. I only know about IGP. But now and then some of those canine officers, they are sneaking into my seminar in civilian clothes. And all of them is coming back to me and say, believe it or not, Lars, we can use a lot of that. What? And then I try to investigate, what is it you can use?
Sure.
And they tell me it's the drive and the passion. That's everything for them on the track.
Right.
And also learning later, not in the beginning, but later, going from, oh, you love to track, until, hey, by the way, you have to track.
Yes.
And that,
and without pressure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it also brings me into another little thing which concerns me nowadays, also as a human being. Everybody nowadays is talking about emotion and motivation.
Yes.
And it's very, very modern to talk about that. But
yeah.
I'm an old grumpy man. What for the old word discipline?
Right.
I mean, everybody have forgot that word nowadays.
Yep.
And I was having a good friend. He was educating the Navy SEALs in Denmark. Mm-hmm. And he was writing a book about that when he retired. And a big part of the book was going about nowadays, a big percent of the young guys who are starting there don't finish. They leave before they finish. And he was making an interview with them. And the majority of them, when he asked them, why do you quit? I didn't feel motivated. And then he said, but I mean, are you motivated to go to a job Monday morning when it's raining? No, it's discipline who's kicking in there, because you need to support your family with food.
Absolutely.
And it's like, don't misunderstand me. I like emotion. I like motivation, but we also need discipline. And we need discipline in our training. We need discipline in our dog training, in our life general.
Yes.
Sometimes we must do something that we don't like to get a good result.
Yes. Even making your bed in the morning, the first thing in the morning, you get up and you make your bed. That is discipline, and that's where it starts, of course.
A very good start.
Yeah, absolutely. So why footstep tracking? And of course, we need anything that you need to get good at. It needs time, and it needs to develop. The more you do, the better you get, of course. But why, again, why footstep tracking? What is so special about footstep tracking in IGP? And why has this become an obsession?
For me, it is that we have to decide which kind of scent we want the dog to follow.
Sure.
And we have, in the big picture, it's a big picture, but we have actually two kinds of scent and smell we can teach the dog to follow. One of them is the scent from the person who's laying the track.
Right.
When you start walking on a field, you are immediately losing textile fibers, hair, not me, you losing hair, sweat, skin, and that is falling down on the ground and laying on the top. And the dog is able to follow that immediately.
Yes.
It's very strong scent, it's easy for the dog to follow.
Yes.
And the dog can follow that immediately. And if we educate the dog well, the dog can identify who it was who walked there. Was it you or was it you?
Yeah.
It's very, very good for police work.
Yes, indeed.
My issue with it is that scent and smell is laying on the top of the field because it's falling from the person down. And then it's quite fragile for the wind. So it gets wider and wider and wider, the track.
Yes.
A lot of people talk about the scent will disappear. No, it's not disappearing. It's just getting very wide.
It's emanating and wide, is just going with the wind.
Exactly.
Yes.
And therefore, if you see a police dog, the dog is super effective, but typically having to know so much about the ground and is doing like that when it's tracking.
Yes.
We have the other scent and smell, which is the disturbance of the surface.
Right.
And disturbance of the surface is a mix actually between crushing the vegetation, if there is vegetation, but also killing the bacteria, which is there. And the rotten process of those bacteria, the dog can follow that.
Yes.
The good part about that is there will all the time be bacteria. Even here on my clean passport, here, it's clean. But if I do like that, I may be killing 100,000 bacteria.
Sure,
and
maybe more.
It would take a while. They start rotting. My dog will be able to follow that.
Right, absolutely.
But the minus with that is it takes a while. It takes, regarding to temperature and weather condition, between 15 and 13 minutes before they start rotting, so the dog can follow that process.
Well, and the moisture in the air, so on and so forth.
Exactly, but that's actually quite perfect for our track, which is half an hour, 1 hour, 3 hours old, right?
Sure.
So it doesn't matter for us. And at the same time, we know that disturbance of the surface, of course, is in the footprint.
Yes.
And when I go and watch judges, I'm very careful about listening to what is it he wants to see so I can win the competition with my next dog.
Of course.
And he loves to see a dog who's putting the nose down in the footprint.
Yeah.
So just like other people is doing in obedience, they are starting with food in the hand nowadays to create the right pattern for the dog, the right picture. I'm doing the same muscle memory just in that direction.
Yeah.
So
just like healing, but on the ground.
Bang the nose down in all the footprint as a muscle memory, even with scent and smell, then later in life, it's so easy for the dog to connect the scent and the smell because that will be strongest down in that footprint.
It's conditioning. So it was something arbitrary and completely non-scientific because one guy just liked that picture and then it just became popular.
It's a wonder for me. I don't know. I think it's because I was failing dramatically in 20 years ago, and then I think there's something wrong here. I need to change what I'm doing.
Yes.
And also because I get bored about doing the same stuff over and over.
Of course.
Over. And I think if the dog can find cancer and diabetes and coronavirus, and the dog cannot find such a big article on a track, something wrong with what we are doing. And then I start looking for new experience, like a narcotic dog, explosive dog, a police dog, all kind of dogs. And that was crazy what they was able to do. And a lot of those people, they don't care about the pedigree.
Right.
And I mean, if I go to a narcotic, a policeman finding narcotic with his spaniel, he don't know the father and mother. He don't care.
Yeah.
It's just a
of course. It's just a dog.
Yes, but also I know it's controversial, but I mean, track is the only discipline that all dog in the whole world can do. All dogs.
True.
When they get born, they are blind, or at least the eyes is not open yet. So the dog have to use the nose to find up to the mother's tits.
Yes.
And or else they will die. They can only use the nose. So the dog, everybody have the nose. In protection
Yes.
work, some dog can be afraid of the helper. In obedience, some dog don't want to cooperate with you. But
Yeah.
every dog can track.
Yes, I agree. So, coming from that, how do you raise the significance of, let's say, we had a style of healing that went from in obedience. We had, these dogs that are contorting themselves, looking backwards, and then now we're going away a little bit from that. That the judge say they want, quote unquote, a more natural picture. How does that affect or bleed over in tracking? Because they are also looking for this so-called natural picture in tracking, and they're thinking what they think is stress. Maybe they know it. Maybe some dog shows behavior some way or another way. How do we differentiate that? Can you put a little bit more light on that?
Also a very good question, because there is so much discussion going on about what is it we want to see in protection work with the
Yes.
transition phase and the grip and the
Yes.
power, the drive, the self-confidence, and the same in obedience.
Yes.
But on track, what is it really the judge wants to see?
Right.
And what is drive and passion on a track?
Right.
And it's like a lot of judges don't care about it.
Right.
Or don't know about it. But I think we need to educate the judge better to agree about what is it we want to see. And for me
Yes.
personally, I don't care about, is it a supernatural track or is it a fucking circus dog they want to see? I don't
Right.
care. As
Right.
long as they make a decision, and then I can go home in my laboratory and teach my dog the behavior they like to
Sure.
see.
Sure. Because it is a
Now,
competition at the end of the day.
but the problem is a lot of judges want to see a circus dog.
Yes. Yes.
And then if you are educated to be free and happy, you will lose a lot of point.
Yes.
Because in my world, there is a big problem between self-confidence and discipline.
Yep. 100%. It's
Self-confidence you will have in the dog.
They're inversely proportionate to each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think and I hope that my podcast with people, my book, and my controversial way to speak will maybe start at least bringing some discussion into what is it the judge wants to see.
Sure.
And I get so happy when top level people, judges or sitting in committee, they start contacting me and asking about track. Because it's not like, oh, I have the silver bullet or the magic stick.
No, of course not.
Not at all. I just want to bring it up as a subject. Could we talk about it? What is it you want to see?
The political high-level people that we talk about, they are not there because of their talents as trainers and dog people. They are there because they were able to manipulate people to put them in certain positions.
Long way down the road. You are right about that.
This is all politics. This is all politics, whether dog politics or country politics, anywhere it is. They were able to convince some people why they were the right people for the job. And it doesn't matter if they were actually good for the job, if they were actually good for the dogs or the breed, or even if they have a clue. When you read the rules, sometimes you really feel it's like, hey, does this guy even train that he's writing these rules? Or throwing the dumbbell, landing in a box, and this and that kind of nonsense, and demarcating where the article, how the article should lie when the dog indicates the article. That's,
And also, if we follow your speech,
sure.
The problem is if we go further on track, nobody sees it.
No, absolutely.
There's no video. There's not sitting 500 people on the stadium who can see what you're doing.
No, so exactly.
He can literally do what he wants in the third corner if he wants.
Yes, absolutely.
And nobody can prove it.
And it happens all the time, unfortunately.
But my take on that is I've been in sport over 40 years.
Yes.
Instead of throwing rotten tomatoes after the judges, I will try to help educate the judges.
No, it's a great thing, yes.
Because we have a lot of good judges.
Sure.
But they die and fade out in the sport because they give up with that politic. And I mean, regarding to judges, we only need one rotten apple to ruin the whole
bunch. Yep.
Instead of, okay, I would like to help and guide and support.
I think when we raise the level of awareness, I remember not agreeing with what the judge said on one of my tracks long time ago. I don't know, like 15 years ago. And I was stupid enough to say it to his face as he was critiquing me, and I disagreed with him. And I said, no, that didn't happen. What you just said did not happen. And then, of course, the points didn't change. But of course, I still had 2 more phases to go.
Yeah.
And I felt my opinions resonate in those 2 phases, in the scores of those 2 phases as well. So,
but then the good part is with me, I'm so old, I don't care.
Yeah, no, of course. So, I mean, I was dumb enough to not care too.
I'm not going to be the world champion anyway. I'm not good enough, but I'm not going for it anyway. But so I'm very honest. I'm not locked because of all the
my thing is though, like it's so I was agreeing with you that it's a great thing that you're calling this out without naming names, just whatever's happening and bringing light to it and bringing education to it, because the lack of awareness and the willingness to speak out to what the judge is doing, I think a lot of people lack that courage because they don't want to be victimized, because it's very easy to victimize them because it's all subjective, and all this stuff is like, because then again you're questioning the authority of the authority figure of the day, and then you can be construed as a quote unquote troublemaker, and that happens. The high grasses of blade get cut for a nice lawn.
And I also have to admit, when I was young, I was not speaking like now.
Right, of course. That's why I said I was stupid enough to do it.
I mean, come on, I was licking a lot of asses.
Sure. So, how are we looking to bring in more people, the new people? How is the book helping those new people to come into the sport and be encouraged? Because a lot of people say, "Oh, I hate tracking." Like, I'll give you an example of 2 of my club members. One lady did her GPR2 with her dog, so which is obedience and protection without tracking, and another lady just did her GPR1 with her dog. And both these ladies have barely tracked their dogs because they're afraid of it. They don't want to do it, whatever. They find it tedious. How would I convince them using your tools to say, hey, no, this is actually maybe the best phase of the sport. I enjoy tracking the most of all 3 phases. So I will do tracking titles just because with my dogs, because I like to track. But how would I encourage these ladies to come into the sport of tracking and basically put that tool in their repertoire? How would the track book help them?
First of all, talking about my seminars, which is quite close connected to the book also, is I give motivation guarantee, which means I'm very expensive. But when people show up to a seminar, if they are not more motivated for tracking with the dog when I leave, they can get all the money back. Sure. Because on 2, 3, 4 days workshop, I cannot teach the dog to track.
Of course not. Yes.
But I must be able to motivate the dog handler.
Right.
Because motivation creates training, creates success.
Absolutely.
That's how it works. And my best recommendation I can get is when people is coming to me and say, Lars, it's easy to track. Yeah, it's not difficult. Don't listen to those old idiots who's telling you, oh, you have to do this and that. And you can do it in your backyard, 80% of it.
Yep.
And people start laughing over that. Yeah, but hey, come on. Nowadays, people is also making obedience on the kitchen floor, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The basic position and all that. So I mean, first take is give guarantee, because I must be able to motivate you. And I can do that actually.
Yeah.
And then when we was writing the book, we was very honest about which kind of people is it we're talking to.
Sure.
So the book is like, first of all, there's a lot of funny stories about dog training with me, but then there's also step by step from the very first day until actually the world championship. But every time we tell a story, it's step by step. Yeah. There's a lot of diagram and a lot of photos in the book.
Yes.
And when you go into the Skool Community, there's videos for every single exercise where they see me do it with the dog. So people can read about it, see photos, see diagram, and see a video.
Yeah.
So we have done all we can to make it easy for people. And now on the Skool Community, every time I have time, I go in and check. People say, today, there's one of the clients, oh, I'm struggling with the food drive. I contact them immediately and say, what about this? What about that? Try this, try that.
Yes, absolutely.
And also, at least once a month, there will be a podcast where people can bring live questions to me on that platform.
Yeah.
So if they have any concern about the book, bring it on.
Right.
So we can talk about it because it must not be difficult. People who make dog training difficult will never get success.
Yes, absolutely. And it's always complicating it. It's comparing like a Windows PC to a Macintosh. You know, it's like,
Exactly.
yeah.
And I mean,
If
that's
you're
why
pushing
I'm
the
not
start
trying.
button to turn it off, there's something wrong.
Yeah. I mean, it's so simple, but a lot of people is coding it in fancy words
Yes.
instead of speak to people where they are.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
a good example was in the beginning, I was having PowerPoint system and computers. Now, the only thing I bring is a stupid toy rat. Because then people start laughing, and then I'm
Yes.
connected with them and
Yes.
trustful and put their hands on.
Yes. Yes. Hands-on is, I think, the most important part, because you can discuss theory and why the dog is doing it and this and that and what the behavior science behind it is. And the another caveat about the behavior science is none of the behavior scientists have ever trained a dog.
No, exactly. No. And it's not so often that you see top level educated people win dog competition. Sorry to say.
You either teach or you do.
Exactly.
You might be one of the exceptions to that rule.
Oh, thank you.
So my next question is progressing from getting the beginners interested to the next level of competition is looking for the right attitude. How do we determine what the right attitude is for the dog? And how do we bring that dog into that attitude? And how might the book be able to help with that?
I think the best part about that, your question is, in the book, we are able to navigate in that world.
Yes.
Meaning, let me give you a good example. Maybe you remember that from, what's that? Is it 15 years, 10 years ago? Was it Deb Sapia from United States?
Yes.
Who was going to the World Championship and track with the dog, and the score was very low.
Yes.
I think it was 72, 74 points.
Yeah. The black dog.
First time when I saw the video, I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
They cannot take so many points from her.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started contacting immediately the judges, the track layers, all those kind of people say, is that the future? Is that the way you will judge in the future? Yes. And will everybody do that? Yes. Okay. Then we must teach the dog that. And that is the good part about the Skool Community to the book, because then I can bring new stuff up every time they change in the rule book. Every time there's a speech for FCI meeting, I have a big ear there. Sure. The brand new is now they will look for this. Then we have to create that instead of keep on training here and then suddenly wake up and the sport have moved over here.
Yeah, for sure.
And regarding to that, it's also important that I tell people, I will never end up like that old grumpy man talking about everything was better in the old days. No.
Right.
As long as I'm here, I will follow the instruction so I can do the best and get the highest score as possible.
Yes.
Until I think it's really stupid, then I leave the sport.
Right.
As long as I'm here, I'm following on obeying that.
Yes.
Just, okay, if you want the dog to walk on 3 legs, I have to teach my client that. If the dog have to moonwalk on the track, I have to teach my client that. So that actually takes a lot of energy for me, that all the time being, how are they judging? Why are they doing that? How are they laying the track? All that stuff.
Yes, absolutely. So my next question, like I want to go back a little bit in memory lane, and you talked about, the first time you were inspired by watching this dog track in Spain in Seville off leash, and that's when I think 40 or 50% people had failed that time. And that's when you said, okay, I'm going to make a change and I'm going to do this. And that's when you had this cool, you posted this video to Facebook of your championship with the full points without a leash. And what was the theory behind that? And why did you want to do that? And what does that show as far as the training capabilities?
It was a combination of many things. First of all, I have failed dramatically just before I saw that.
Right.
Then when I saw that in Sevilla, I said to my friends, I want to do that. And they start laughing. And that was actually the kick.
Right.
Okay, I will show you. But then I realized that there was much, much more in that, in just being a smart ass and tracking without leash. Because then I realized how much we have ruined the dog with our leash pressure.
Right.
Dragging and pulling and fighting and spending tons of energy, physical and mentally, with that leash.
Right.
And then I realized, if you take an 8-week-old puppy and you make a 10 steps straight out track and a jackpot, the puppy will come to the jackpot. You let the dog eat, you take the leash off and go to your car. Then the puppy, in 99% of the cases, turn around when it's finished eating and go slowly, methodic back in the track. Slower, deeper nose, and there's no food.
Yes.
And then I go to the puppy and say, "Are you idiot? There's no more food, you idiot." The puppy don't hear.
No.
And then I think we must be really morons if we cannot admit that is what I want to see.
Yes.
And what is the difference? There's no leash pressure.
No, he's motivated.
Don't misunderstand me. I'm not training like a soft hippie without a leash. Just let the dog run around free, because we need some discipline on the dog. But when you see all the other kind of dogs for explosive, they don't have a leash on. They are not fighting against that.
No.
And then we are training way too easy in IGP sport, because we typically make straight out leg. And of course, the dog wants to come down there in a hurry, because the jackpot is down there. And when the dog creates that unpleasant feeling around the throat, where will that disappear? At the end. So it's a win-win situation to come to the end. I get food and I get rid of that pressure.
Yep.
Especially if people then start putting a prong collar on the dog.
Oh gosh, yes.
Then the dog really wants to go there instead of each now. What about each footprint should be interesting?
Mm-hmm.
So
that's really interesting. But again, bringing this to the point of adding disciplines, and we have articles in the track, of course. And again, we don't correct the dog with the behavior, like you said. You know, we're going from island to island. In one of our previous conversations, we spoke about it. The articles are like islands the dog finds comfort in. So he will indicate the article. So could you please elaborate a little bit on that philosophy?
Well, in the old days, when we train, it was very typical, like we was putting pressure on the track and pressure on the article, demanding the dog, forcing the dog to do the job. But the problem is with force. If we do that, it could be maybe okay in obedience, because the dog is next to you all the time. You can tell the dog, you fucking have to listen or I kill you. But on track, the dog is 10 meters away from you. Almost impossible. Also because you have no commands.
Right.
And I mean, the clearest proof I have around that is, if people don't believe my theory, try to buy a bloodhound and teach that to track. It is so easy. But try to teach a bloodhound to indicate an article.
Right.
Good luck. Good luck. Because the dog is doing the best it like, and then suddenly it stops and look back and you will say, why should I break what I love most in my life and down? You can compare that with a German Shepherd or a Malinois who have to make the scent out, how people is struggling downing the dog. Because I know my reward is down there. And when people then on track with that kind of, like the bloodhound, correct the dog for trying to overshoot the article, then the dog start avoiding the article, because the dog already told us, I don't like that article, I prefer to track. Where I try to put more pressure on the track later in life and tell the dog, article is all the time happiness. That's your island. That's your safety spot. That's where all the joy is. And I have a little note about that, which I've not spoken with you about. And I don't know actually why I'm saying it or what I mean about it, but interesting. To the last World Championship, I was counting, I know it's not the right numbers, but I was counting 32 missed articles. But I only count one false indication. How can that be? I mean, in the old days, for 40 years ago, it was almost 50-50.
There was a lot of false indications.
Article 10 false indication.
And
I don't know why it is like that, but when I speak with clients nowadays, they have never tried to have a false indication, a lot of them. And that is showing me that at least the interest or the work or the focus on the article have left the sport a bit. Maybe because the judge wants to see more technique on the track, so people have no time for it, or the dog lose interest for it, I don't know, or all that. Now you must not bite in it, you must not even look at it, you must not touch it, and you have to lay straight and all that.
It's very sterile. So the motivation, I think, is gone, because even a few years back, like, I'm still having false indications on my track, because the dog is I'm not curating the ground the track is on. So there's objects that might resemble close to an article, because I'm not using always conventional articles. So the dog is like, oh, maybe this is an article because it seems about the same size and is indicating, let's say, a screw. on the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah, so which is great because he's actually thinking about what's on the ground.
A little story regarding to that. In the old days, when I was competing to the World Championship and European Championship and stuff like that, we all the time make sure that when we go to the track with our dog, that we was having a coin in our pocket from that country. Because if the dog make a false indication, we sneak up that coin and lift it up and look at the track layer and said, I don't have your money in my pocket.
Yeah.
And then the track layer, he's in panic. And the judge sometimes said, okay.
I love this. Oh, this is so funny. This is great.
Everybody did that. Oh, that was one of your coins. You must drop that. And he didn't dare to say, no, it's not mine. He was like,
that's so funny. Well, now we're in the age of credit cards, so that's a lot harder to pull off anymore.
We don't have the false indication.
Yes, exactly. Well, they're walking the track anyway, so.
Yeah.
So how do we, again, differentiate about surfaces? So sometimes we have a championship, let's say in Slovenia, like we did last year, and then this year as well, the World Championship. And they have this beautiful, lush green grass. And there's people even struggling in that sometimes, and they're trying to blame it on the wind and whatnot. And then we have sometimes places like Seville, when it's just, like California, it's just barren ground. You're lucky if there's even dead grass there. And how is the distinction there that the dog can track successfully?
There could be many reasons, but one of them is, and I will make a short story about that. I was in Norway having a track seminar, and one of the students there was asking me, Lars, what do you consider as a difficult track field?
Sure.
And I was like, And then I come up with that answer. A field I never have tried before is a difficult field for me and my dog.
Sure,
that means if the condition is different compared to what I'm used to, it is difficult. I admit that. I mean, if I take a puppy and educate it on grass, first time I show it dirt, it looks like an idiot.
Yep.
It's doing it right, or the other way around.
Right.
So the first track ever on a certain surface is not looking perfect as we wanted. Maybe because we have too much discipline on the dog.
Sure, yeah.
I think if people want to raise the level for making better results of competition, I think it's interesting. If you have the World Championship, they typically have, let's say, 6 helpers where they select 4 the day when they have the championship. Right. Those 6 helpers who is selected 1 year before, they are very, very busy the last year.
Yes.
Because a lot of clever country, they invite those helpers to do protection work for seminars and for trial. So they get used to it.
Yes.
But on track, why don't people investigate to say the track field has to be that? I know that. Maybe we could try the best we can to find similar in our country for selecting the dogs to the World Championship.
Yes.
You can't imagine how many times I've seen dog been selected on grass 1/2 meter high and go on short grass or dirt to the World Championship. And they could get that information so easy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not, come on, that's stupid if you want to win.
Right. So we talk about, again, the process of selecting our teams, let's say, going to a big stage is very rigorous. You must get your IGP title at a club level, then maybe you compete at your regionals or your national championship. In America, there's another fold where there's a qualifying trial between the 2 competing organizations to select one team, and then that team goes to the World Championship. How can we police the procedure to pick judges which just get to be picked at random? To be able to judge at that level of these people? Why are we just taking that judge's opinion? And how did he make it? We know he didn't go through any rigorous process, except being friends with the selecting committee, or owing them a favor.
I enjoy to see when I'm traveling that I see the qualifications in a certain country that all judges is not coming from that country.
Yes.
It gives me a little bit like that is more fairness, probably.
Sure.
But if it's one of the competitors who have invited all 3 judges and they are living in his house. It's
a little disbalance of power.
Yeah. But we have, and that is important for me to address, we have super level of judges.
Yes.
We have that. We just need to celebrate them and lift them.
But that super level of judges often does not find itself to judging the big trials, I feel.
No. But also another thing is that corruption in the world is typical highest where people have the lowest salary, right?
Sure.
If we were maybe starting paying the judges,
it
could maybe take some of that away. Because, I mean, the helpers, they're living today like fucking rock stars.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
They are. They're rock stars. They can pick ladies, they can get money, they can train, but the judges is almost like somebody we are laughing a bit about.
Right.
And celebrate them and give them a good salary for the job. It was easier to pick them.
Right.
I don't know how it works. I'm not so much into that.
Right.
But still, we could change that a bit.
Yeah, definitely. That's the part of the system where it needs a lot of work.
The world will never get the chance to judge championship, and they give up actually because it's boring only to judge home trial.
Not just that, they're actively selected. Like when the competitions happen like this within their own clubs, let's say, or because I've seen this firsthand a lot of times, the right judges don't get the assignments. A lot of the old guard in Germany was really good about picking the right dogs and then I've heard this quite a few times, and I think it's a really good attitude for the breed is saying you find the category of the dog when you see the dog, and then you find the points for that category. So meaning you, for the regular audience, and you please feel free to add to it. So you determine the quality of dog, and when you are experienced dog man, when you are not just a bean counter, as most judges are today, that they're following this quote unquote university and their judges school and program, they are looking at dogs. They're dog people. They can understand canine behavior. They understand the dog has a lot of drive. The dog has a lot of hunting ability. The dog has a lot of enthusiasm. Maybe they know the father, the grandfather. They know the bloodline a little bit of the dogs because it was such a small community in Germany, especially. And they are looking at the dogs as breeding animals for the future, not just an extension of the guy who's handling and who's going to do 20 seminars in the next year because he won this championship or that championship. They're looking for future breeding dogs. So when the dogs make some mistake or the handler makes some stupid mistake, they're not punishing the dog when the dog shows the right type of behavior overall. And they're finding the points to fill that category.
You nailed it. I am spending every year with my calendar. I all the time mark mid-September, I'm off. Because me and my friends, we're traveling to Germany and watch the nationals in Germany for German Shepherd.
Yes.
Because the level of dog is super high. Also, because I'm interested in breeding, the dog levels is on top level. There's almost dogs. But most important, the judges is some character who actually have a road. That's what we want to see. I was bringing a young friend last year, and he said, "It's funny, Lars, I don't know so much about dog sport, but when I have seen and listening to 5 judgment of the dog, I could judge the next."
It's a pattern.
I was going for that judge.
Yes.
And that's what will be the future. So I'm going in pure interest to see what will be the future. What is he training for?
Absolutely. So we don't find that we have a lot of blowhards on the internet from different countries that are judges in their different countries, but there's not much substance to what they're saying. They're talking a lot of times, and they're getting a lot of engagement, but there is no substance to what they're saying.
No, but a problem is also money or lack of money.
Sure.
Was a good example. I was talking about that with a client. I said, "Do you know in Europe, I pay $100 for a half-year membership?"
Absolutely.
I'm not paying tons of money for that.
No.
But then I also have to cut the grass or paint the clubhouse or bake a cake or whatever. We take part of everything. So the structure is much more flat.
The
money is not, and we are not fighting against each other because of money. We have many reasons to fight against each other, but it's not money.
Like we say, the Kartoffelsalat Leute, the people that bring the potato salad are just as important for the functioning of the club as is the trainer, because it's a community that comes together.
or the old lady who's taking care of the numbers.
Yeah, oh,
Whatever.
100%. She's extremely important too. It's the culture of, again, the rise of the professional trainer in America, especially, is when you have so I think that's been overall destructive to the sport, in my opinion.
But we also have to admit that's how it is.
No, it
Sorry
is.
to
It
say
absolutely is.
that way, but we cannot do anything.
No, but I think that the by that virtue that you have the book and you have the Skool Community, and it's like a whole multimedia experience where you're evangelizing tracking, I think it makes it a lot more accessible. For the price of less than one seminar that they can attend, they can have all this access.
Exactly.
I
And
think
what
that
I
might be
love
something
about it
that we
right
want to
now
talk about.
is, and what I really like about it now is several judges have joined it. So
Yes.
they're answering people when they are
Oh, that's
questioned.
beautiful.
That's awesome because
That's
people have a
really
lot of
beautiful. That
questions
is a real
and
community
people
right
don't
there.
see they answer. I mean, we have Camilla Rönnqvist, Deb Kiers, Stanley Craddock. He's doing a lot there,
Yeah, yeah.
answering, trying to guide them and help them. And it's awesome. It's really nice. It's a completely another way to see it because it's not like, oh, you owe me money or whatever. No, no.
No, that's
It's,
fantastic. That is
yeah.
fantastic. I have a really good story about Mr. Craddock. I don't know him personally, but I had shared my IGP1 routine a long time ago online, and he shared that because people were asking about IPO1. It was like, I don't know, back in 2017 or 16. So he shared that online because there were people asking because they just changed the routine that you can go and pick up your dog and all that stuff. They just included that into the routine. So he had shared that as a picture, and it was with a show line. So he's shared that in the group, talking about how this is the type of picture we're looking at. We want to see a dog doing this type of a picture, which was really cool because I didn't know him. Like I've still never spoken to him personally. We're not friends on Facebook. I just see his post here and there in a group or whatever when it pops up on my feed. And just for him to do that, to see an arbitrary video online and share it because it was a correct video, it showed a really enthusiastic, powerful dog. For him to go and say in a working group, say, hey, look at this. This is the picture we want. Look at this. Try and copy this picture, which was amazing. So obviously he's doing the same thing in the Skool community, which is fantastic.
And for me, I love it. It's not so much about who's right and who's wrong.
No, of
It's
course.
just more about enthusiasm,
Yes.
engagement, discussion.
And a
Because that will
rising
lift,
tide lifts all boats.
yeah, that will
Yeah,
lift people, right?
absolutely. And there was another saying that they say, when 100, there was I don't know if I don't remember the name of the study, but it was these monkeys that they're showing that, collective knowledge over a species, that they had these dirty coconuts. The monkeys wanted the coconuts and they made them dirty in the sand. So they showed a few monkeys how to wash the coconuts. And then the monkeys would go and show a couple other monkeys, but not all the monkeys had seen it. But all of a sudden, once they hit a number of around 100 monkeys, literally all the monkeys somehow learned how to do it by themselves.
Yeah.
It's the hive mind, essentially. The level of knowledge is being raised. And you can see that in obedience when we look at videos from the 1990s of obedience of the winner of the BSP. And the dog's like, oh shit, don't kill me.
Exactly.
I'm just walking next to you. And 2 years now, you see this Foos and the dog erupts into this. Like he looks like a freaking dragon walking right next to you because he has so much power and enthusiasm because he knows he's in for a good time. And I'm suspecting it's not to do only with drive, that the dog has more drive.
No, but still, I don't care about that because as long as people is moving in some direction, it's a process.
Right. So I think we're growing in the right direction, and I think you and Eric have somehow revolutionized, I think, to the next level, which you see in other communities outside of dogs, because a lot of stuff in dogs is quite backward. It's like there's not a lot of savvy people in dogs, but what you guys have done, in my opinion, has really raised the bar to what can be achieved, and creating the Skool community outside of the cesspool of social media, where because now there's a barrier of entry where they have to pay for something to get some knowledge, and they by the virtue of that, they value it more, of course, because they're paying for it.
But also a bit like I don't care about is people bringing a stupid showline dog, as a typical say,
No.
or an
That's what
ugly
I'm saying.
Doberman, or whatever it is. When people bring that dog, it's my job to teach the train.
Hey, how about stupid working line dog?
And all of them have a good nose.
Right.
So it's not a problem.
No, but what I'm saying is the level of barrier of entry that you have reduced that significantly, in my opinion, by adding this book and this entire multimedia experience that they will have, whether it's a personal connection with you directly for problem solving, without actually going to a seminar. I don't know if people realize how big of a deal that is to have somebody constantly available. Not just like, it's not like a subscription service that they've subscribed to 100 videos that somebody has made and just keep on accessing videos. I'm sure that's helpful too. But a lot of people make more mistakes like that than do well.
And this what we're doing is lifetime. It's now.
That's right. Yeah. And it's happening live. Like they're making instead of booking a seminar with you or having to buy time and do the GMT conversion.
But exactly. Seminar is getting incredibly expensive because of your nice president. Thank you for that. The gas prices.
You're very welcome. That's our present to the world.
Yeah, thank you for that. But people who cannot afford to go to a seminar, or they are not in country far away, Paraguay, Bolivia,
Ecuador, Tunisia, whatever.
They can go into the book community and actually feel to be a group where people is actually nice to each other.
Right, that's what I mean. That's like the barrier of entry is higher, so not anybody can just venture in because they're actually buying a product, and then they, of course, they value it more. They treat it with more respect, and not only that, then you have similar-minded people that are not there to not create issues, but to learn and grow together. So I think you've kind of solved the issue of social media a little bit, in my opinion.
Exactly,
because this is social media.
But we have to give all the credit to Eric because it's him who have done all that stuff.
It's incredible. That's why I mentioned yourself and Eric together, because I think he's added to your brilliance in tracking. He's added the connectivity, which is
I was the one who gets most impressed about it. I'm so impressed about the work.
Yeah, I'm a little bit jealous that I didn't think of this before. You know what I mean?
You and me can make the next book.
Yeah, there we go. I've got ideas right here.
Exactly.
Yeah, there we go. So please tell me again about leveling up to, let's say, from a club level. How are you able to help people level up to, let's say, to a national level and then to an international level?
I spend a lot of time, especially when I have what I call live level 2 seminar, which also will be a part of the book, of course.
Yes.
Where when people can track properly, then we start focusing on, but now you also need to understand how to prepare your dog, how to set up the dog for track, how to set up yourself. And I can see a thing I'm spending a lot of time with nowadays with people is to teach them, when you go for a competition, which goal are you looking for?
Sure.
And one of them is, and I spoke a lot about that, people must never think that I'm aiming for 100 point. I'm never aiming for 100 point. I give the dog a little freedom. So if I can make 95 point under all circumstances, I'm more than happy.
Yes.
Because then I can get a lot of point now and then if I'm lucky. But
sure.
I'm aiming for that 100 point, I am so much on the edge where I'm killing the drive and the passion and the self-confidence in the dog. And then I did that in the old days. My scorebook was like 199, 000, 100, 000. Because the dog didn't dare to make mistake. And if the dog make mistake, it frees. Yes. And you take all the activity and self-confidence and the drive and the passion away from the dog.
Yes. You see a lot of this even with the big competitors right now. And you'll see this, even they're extremely successful, everybody knows their names. And you'll see they'll go to a big trial after a 100-point track and they'll make like 8 points or 6 points or 5 points. And it's fairly easy conditions when you look at it from the outside. Of course, maybe they got dealt the worst track and the dog wasn't feeling good, whatever. But I think it might, as in your case previously, it might have to do more with the emotion that the dog is operating under, like a robot. following this schedule and being afraid to make mistakes than it is to actually with the actual behavior that we're looking for breeding animals.
Yeah.
And this has stopped being about breeding animals. Now, if you'll be better off breeding to the handler than the dog if you're looking for the next generation, you're female.
Exactly.
Because you're looking at the training. You're not looking at, because a lot of these dogs is like you can just throw them away in the top group. They're not breeding dogs. So can you highlight the difference between sport and breeding, as you are passionate about the bloodlines and you've raised so many young dogs, and what you are looking for in a young dog?
Well, actually, maybe it's because I'm so passionate about track, but when I'm traveling around and I want to breed with dog or buy them or sell them, whatever it is, when I have to test a dog, I prefer to test them on track.
Sure.
Because I want to see in low drive, how do you act there, little dog? It's so easy to put a dog on a table in a chain and with a helper and a whip and make it look like a million.
Right.
But the dog is fighting for their life.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But I'm convinced about, I see much, much more dog when I see it on track in low drive.
Yeah.
How much pressure can it take? How much intelligence? How much does the dog dare to do? How does the dog react on problem? All that. But that's only my opinion. But I'm convinced about that's how it is.
Right. So are there any bloodlines, so just to name some names from the past, are there any bloodlines that you are interested in particularly? Of course, it's working bloodlines, but are there some bloodlines particularly that you find more interest in, whether it's coming over, I'll name some old dogs, like the H litter from Wolfsheim, Henrik and his brothers. That was the most successful litter in the recent history of the breed, in my opinion, with 3 brothers finishing not just going to a championship, but finishing in the first 5 dogs in world championships and BSP. From the same litter was coming 3 males.
If you look here,
yeah,
the granddaughter from Happy from Molsheim.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. And that's the reason why I picked that dog, because I was so fond about the line.
Yes.
But for me personally, I also have an issue about, even that I'm going into working line dogs.
Yes.
I want them to look like a German Shepherd.
No, of course they must. Absolutely.
And some of them is maybe too ugly.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And some of them have some issue with the health.
Sure. Could you elaborate a little bit about that? When you're looking for the complete picture, how are you picking a puppy? Except, of course, like you mentioned, you're looking at the tracking ability of the dog and its ability to handle the environment and the pressure and so on and so forth. That without being connected to the dog, that you can see the dog operate in that level. But can you tell some other things that you are looking for in a puppy when you pick a puppy? Previously, we had talked about. You said nerves are okay. But again, we have to go in a little bit deeper to explain to people what do you consider nerves?
And what do you think about nerves when I talk about nerves, and the other way around? But also regarding to picking puppies, I'm quite controversial. Because I don't care. The last 3-4 puppies I have get, I just called the breeder and said, pick a puppy. What? Yeah, you just pick one. I don't care. But Lars, take one. If it wants to eat, I'm happy. Because my opinion is there's good and there's bad litters.
Sure.
That's it.
Yes.
The rest is like, someday one is good, someday one is bad. You know, when you go to puppies you have bred yourself.
Yes.
That puppy over there is super. Then you play half an hour with it. Then people is coming and sleeping. Nobody wants to have it. Even that's the driviest one, right?
Yes.
Or bad stomach. And you know, a puppy would get bad stomach. They look like shit for 24
hours.
Oh,
overnight.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, picking a puppy, I don't care. The only thing I'm concerned about in the litter is, if I want to take a male dog, it has to have both testicles. I'm not bringing a male dog home without testicle. That will never happen.
Yeah.
The rest, and actually, it's funny because famous breeders now start being a little bit nervous when I put that pressure on them. Yeah, but Lars, what should I look for? And with this one, I said, if she wants to eat, I also like a little bit dark in colors, but that's it. The rest, I don't care. Okay, but is that
amazing.
Okay? So
But you're relying on the homework that they have previously done. So that has more to I suspect, do with the breeding that took place and the families the dogs come from. So
And most important, genetic.
yes. So can you please put a little bit light on that subject?
For me, I'm looking at all the information which is available for me, which I
Sure.
know personally. And I have to say that's 99% coming from traditional German breed.
Sure.
And I'm not going so much into a lot of people is talking about. I can give you a good example about how people is talking about fashion. At some point, everybody was talking about, East German.
Yeah.
Listen here. I was in the dog sport when they tear down the wall in Berlin. We was all traveling to East Germany and buy tons of dogs for cheap money. They was really dark color, beautiful, big head, strong bone, dark color, but zero drive.
Right.
And I know it from first hand. And it was not one. It was all of them. And if they were so cute as friends, so fucking good, why don't we see them today?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The myth is completely dissipated.
Yeah. So I'm much more into traditional German breed.
Yes. Perfect.
But that's my take of it. But it's also because I have so much ability to see pedigree and see puppies and see breed and see sisters and mothers and fathers and all that. And then when I'm going to pick a puppy, my first priority is find a good mother line. The mother line is everything for me. Because if a breeder have a super female, the mother here, the grandmother is happy for all time. If they have that bitch, I can guarantee you they spend tons of knowledge to find the right male.
Sure,
right?
absolutely.
A super female on a stupid male. And they know that female better than I do. So I'm not, very often when I contact people, say, I would like to buy a puppy from your female. Yeah, but we don't know who we're breeding with yet. I say, I don't care.
Yeah.
I trust you.
That's fantastic.
Because female is the difference between a good and a bad breeder.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that's funny. So this is really interesting. I really appreciate the insight of trusting the breeder to bring the right dogs to the future, and you being being able to trust the genetics and go forward with that. I wholeheartedly agree with you where the mother line is the most important, and then of course they're going to pick a complementary dog because they've been able to get to that point. I would really thank you for your time, and you've built something really commendable, and I look forward to getting on the platform and maybe doing the next one together. Yes. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right. How do I? All right. And